on the day, baby.
Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to the HBCU Football Coaches Corner, hosted by none other than Johnnie Cole, and I am his trusty sidekick, Rocky Miller. Hey, man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We got a really big show for you today, and a surprise. You might not like it, but we do have a surprise for you. And so I want to thank everybody. First off, I want to apologize for everybody. We announced earlier today when we put the banner up that we had confirmed with Coach Graves an interview today on HBCU Coaches Corner. You guys saw it live last week, and for whatever reason, we're not able to get Coach Graves connected. I hope there's no serious family issue or anything like that going on where he cannot respond. But I look forward to having the conversation with Coach Graves, and maybe we can reschedule at another time. But with that being said, Coach, we still got an amazing show scheduled for everybody today. I'd like to share my experience at the SWAC Championship and spending time with the Rattlers in Tallahassee. I had a great time, traveling to Tallahassee and spending time. But before we get started with all that, Coach, how you doing, Coach?
Man, I'm doing wonderful, Coach. Wonderful, Coach. I watched a lot of good football this weekend. A lot of good football, and as you know, guys are getting hired and guys are getting fired. The only place they ain't getting hired yet is in the SWAC. And our guys are taking their time and trying to get it done and make the right decisions.
Absolutely, Coach. Speaking of coaching, we might as well bring something up that we've talked about ad nauseum on this show. And I want to, this is a clip from Off Script show last night. It was a great show. We're bringing it up for a particular reason because this is something that Coach Cole has talked about over and over and over again. And I'm glad to see other coaches who are employed, speaking up, Coach. And here's a quick little clip from Outspoken. This was a hour and something long interview that Perry and Off Script had with Perry and Scotty had yesterday. This is just a mini clip of it, but this was a very important of it, addressing something that's near and dear to your heart and near and dear to a lot of coaches out there. And I'll go ahead and play it, Coach.
Can you say this, Coach, before you play it?
Coach sometimes hold on.
Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, let them know. Some people don't know it's Coach Simmons, who's the head coach of the Florida A&M Rattlers, who is the SWAC champions this year.
Okay. Gotcha, Coach. And we're going to play this quick clip. I hope everybody can hear it.
I think that's where we as HBCUs sometimes have kind of gotten away from, the way it's like, hey, if a guy had a mistake, recruiting violation, some type of off the field incident that, tarnishes image or brand or whatever. Like, hey, if he's the most qualified guy, give him a chance. Like, that's what we've done for hundreds of years with our students. Some of our students couldn't get in other institutions, and, we gave them a chance. And hell, when other schools would have kicked them out of school, we kept them in school, and they end up flourishing and becoming, great people later on. So I think that's, if I was talking to any AD counselor, I would say, hey, I think some of our better coaches have, hadn't been always the cookie cutter, whatever, you know what I mean? So I think there's some really, really good coaches out there. So a lot of jobless. And if given the opportunity, I tell you what, this league could really, really take off because there's some guys that I know personally that can coach them during football, that can turn a program around and give you what you want. But you got to get over that initial press conference that some young reporter trying to make his name for himself is going to dig and find a traffic ticket they got 25 years ago and talk about that traffic ticket. So
come on, Coach.
That question, then you go on to.
All right, Coach Cole, what did you think when I shared the clip with you earlier today, Coach? What did you think when you heard the clip earlier today?
I thought about, when athletic directors in our conference says put marks where we're going to hire head coaches, with a head coaching experience, somebody that knows what he's doing. And the first thing I thought about is Eddie Robinson them coached Long, and they coached Long for a reason. They were winning football coaches. Now all the winning championship football coaches I know in the last 20 years are on the shelf, that have won national championships. They 60 years old, or 55 up to 60, 65 years old that have won championships, national championships. They've won conference championships. I could name 5, Rick Comagee, L.C. Cole, Melvin Spears, James Woody, Johnnie Cole, you know what I'm saying? And all these guys are on the shelf, and we can name some more. But because of those incidents or things that happen and people taking their personal views instead of hiring the correct people, I understand the conference got to move on. But these guys teaches young guys how to coach instead of you getting a job and you're not ready for
it. Hey, Coach, I want to tell a quick, Mr. Campbell, me and Mr. Campbell together all weekend, this weekend. We took him and Dr. D, we took a road trip from Atlanta down to Tallahassee and back, man. We spent a lot of time together. But the most important thing I wanted to say today, I was able to go out and have lunch, and I had lunch by myself. I didn't need anyone. But I want to thank Mr. Camp for my ability to have lunch today, because it had not been for him, I would have spent all my lunch money at the cigar bar we were at, because my country self, when they didn't have any Macallan 12, I said, go ahead and give us Macallan 18. I'm thinking Texas Waco prices. He knew that's what I was thinking, and he said, "Oh, wait, how much is that?" And the young lady quoted the price, and yes, we did not want Macallan 18.
No,
and so today I was able to have lunch and a cold drink because Mr. Campbell saved my lunch money, from me having to spend it all on 2 shots of Macallan 18. And so I want to thank you, Mr. Campbell, for that, because you really saved my bacon on that one. You really saved my bacon. Yeah, you really saved my bacon on that one, brother, because I had no idea that in those clubs they would charge you what they were going to charge us for 2 shots of Macallan 18. And just so you guys know, yeah. Yeah. And so he said he knew that I didn't want that. And I'm glad the brother spoke up on my behalf. If you need an advocate sometime, that's just what this goes to show. And that's what Willie Simmons was yesterday. He was an advocate for those coaches who don't have jobs. And Mr. Campbell deserved jobs. Hey, and Mr. Campbell was an advocate for a working class man yesterday in a cigar lounge that did not have any idea what he was asking for. And I want to thank you for that, Mr. Campbell, and I appreciate it. But no, we had a great time. And let me kind of talk about my experience before we go on. I had a great experience with the Rattlers, man. They are a group of people who are, even though when I went to the game, I did have my Prairie View gear on, and I was in their VIP section, for the lack of a better word. And even in the VIP section with my Prairie View gear on, they were cordial and kind and nice. Now, they were up by 21. But and so maybe they felt sorry for me or whatever. But the people this weekend were tremendous. All the Rattlers, man, from meeting Willie Simmons and his coaching staff to meeting some of the esteemed faculty and alumni, to also meeting being with the being in the VIP section of the game that was rained out. I was, you know, I was thoroughly impressed with the enthusiasm that the fans had in the midst of a a downpour of rain, very rough conditions on fans, and their spirits were high. They were very excited, Coach. It was an amazing experience for me to be in that atmosphere. Prairie View didn't get the result that they would have wanted, but the atmosphere and the people at Bragg and the Rattlers, man, they were incredible. They were incredible people. And I also like to say this, Coach, and I want to say this on behalf of, what I experienced when I talk to people about Coach Simmons. I talk to people from fans to esteemed alumni and faculty, and they are grateful and appreciative of the job that Coach Simmons has done, not only this year, but the last 5 years. Like, they are so appreciative of what he's been able to do there at the at FAMU. And it doesn't, one of the things that kind of bothered me about the Jackson State fan base dealing with Deion is that even when Deion brought them to the promised land and they started winning, when they were said the only reason y'all winning is because of Deion, they still insisted that they've been like that they've been winning, that they have a winning pedigree when they hadn't won a SWAC championship in nearly 10 years. And when you take credit for being like that, when a man has come in and literally transformed your fortune, I don't think you were able to really give him just due for transforming their fortune. And I was happy to see that the Rattlers are very appreciative of Coach Simmons and the job that he's done for the Rattlers the past 5 years. They appreciate the championship this year, no doubt. But many of them mentioned to me that it's not just this year. They are very appreciative that he took them from 1 and whatever to 6 and 5, and they knew the trajectory he was on. And the championship was just a culmination of Coach Simmons and his staff's hard work, and they certainly appreciate it. And I was happy to hear that, because a lot of times coaches don't get the appreciation from the fan base that they should. In your experience, is that rare in HBCU football or HBCU culture, or is that typical?
Well, first of all, let me get on you for a minute. You went to the BWIs, and that's the greatest thing about HBCU. It's a family, man. I remember when I went in 2009 with Coach Frazier with Prairie View and went to the bar. Man, they sold the bar out. The people embraced me as if I was a Prairie View Panther. You know what I mean? That's the culture and the fanfare of HBCU. Don't let people fool you. You know what I mean? The thing about it is once again, it comes down to us loving us. We got the product. You know what I mean? We got the product, but we got to quit being the crab in the bucket and let the swag flow, man. And we're stopping that from what Willie Simmons said. You know what I mean? And not necessarily just on the coaching standpoint, on the president's standpoint, on the athletic department. Put people in place that deserves the job. Don't take personal views on somebody because you don't like their swag, you don't like whatever. Secondly, you talked about Deion and Jackson State. I think Deion, the way he came in about it, and some of the words that he used about, one guy told me, well, Deion is saving the SWAC. That's offensive to a SWAC man. You know what I'm saying? Or Deion is turning Jackson State around. And I think Deion didn't know enough history to praise the history. You know what I mean? You got to give some to get some. But I think, of course, there were some people loving what he done. You know what I'm saying? But some people would have preferred him to do it another way. You know what I mean? Because there's so many greats have came through Jackson State. You know what I mean? And so many great coaches have came through black college. Yeah, I could just pick one thing when he said, I'm putting, names on the jerseys. We had names on the jerseys back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So in one aspect, I get it. That we don't praise our legends, because here's one of the keys: when you go on campuses, Rocky, you don't see the information. You don't see the championships and the trophies we don't praise, our legends. Now, I would give you everything on that. I know at my alma mater, you can't go nowhere on campus, and see about football. You can go in the basketball arena and see a couple things, but we got to do a better job of that as HBCUs.
Now let me tell you what I saw when I went in the field to the field house, which is right next to Bragg Memorial Stadium. I saw that there was an attempt to recognize the greats that they had, and I'll name one that's very near and dear to me, Bob Hayes. There was an attempt to recognize those guys or whatever. But when you look at it, in my opinion, when you got a guy like Bob Hayes, who's an NFL Hall of Famer and Olympic champion, you have to do a better job of recognizing him and his contribution to not only FAMU, but how you expect other people to respect him when his alma mater modestly recognize his accomplishments. And I'm just saying that straight up. Like Bob Hayes, in my opinion, deserves a statue, because of what he accomplished, not only for FAMU, but for the country and also the Dallas Cowboys. Go ahead, Coach.
I ain't been on every black campus, but I've been on enough to know that it's not happening, and we got to do a better job of that, of loving alumnus. I say it all the time at Texas Southern, we need to hire more alumnus. When one thing about it, when I've looked at Notre Dame and these people, they got a lot of Notre Dame graduates on campus, a lot of Florida State graduates, a lot of, Grambling does a good job of bringing the guys back. And now that, they got the Eddie Robinson Museum, but that wasn't necessarily from Grambling, it was necessary from Eddie being a national stature, you know what I'm saying? But there's been other schools that, like you say, we gotta do a better job, man. If you don't build your base, and you're standing and let kids know, because I know from coaching, and when we bring these 1A players in, they don't have a lot of respect because they don't know that greats have walked those streets, greats have been in these locker rooms. They don't understand it. They don't even understand, Rocky, that the SWAC is in the top 10 in Hall of Famers. Matter of fact, maybe the top 5 in Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot about HBCUs that we don't take monies, you know what I mean, and put into. We should, like you just said, Bob Hayes is unbelievable, Coach. I don't know if you know, Jake Gaithers had 3 teams, Rocky. Blood, sweat, and tears. That's what they call them. 3 teams. You know what I mean? We've let that history out the window. You know what I'm saying? Texas Southern in 1970 had 2 first rounders. Kenny Burrows, 00, and Mike Holmes. You know what I mean? We had Larry Holmes play with the steel curtain, with the arrow in his head. You know what I mean? We've had greats. We've had Darrell Colbert and Donald Narcisse hold the passing record, combination of receivers, for 25 years.
Coach,
that's just at TSU. It's some greats all over HBCU.
So let me ask you this here, Coach. Is there a Black College Football Hall of Fame somewhere in America?
Yes. Yes, it's in Kenton, Ohio, and every year, and thanks to Doug Williams and Shea Harris, you know, in the NFL, that have kept that thing going, and then they made a contract with the NFL, and every year they play the HBCU Hall of Fame, Black College Hall of Fame, up in Canton, Ohio.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And but see, even in that, you know, they kind of make the selections. Our SIDs and our athletic directors should be having hands on in that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I broke a couple records. You know, one day I want them to call my name out, baby.
Coach, you always fondly remember that you and the great SWAC quarterback Willie Totten threw over a dozen touchdowns one afternoon in the rain in Houston, I believe, Coach.
Yes. Yeah, that's what Jerry Rice got discovered from the San Francisco 49ers as well.
So
that's a history game, Coach.
Yeah, that is quite an historic game, Coach. And yeah, Coach, let's go ahead and review this here SWAC championship, Coach. I must say it turned out pretty much like we thought it would. We gave Prairie View a chance, not much of a chance. FAMU was able to run the ball for over 200 yards. You know, it was one of those situations where Coach Simmons, Coach, let me ask you this, Coach, because this kind of bothered me at first. In those conditions, in that rain, the field held up very well, by the way. The field held up very well. In those conditions in the rain, it seemed like FAMU could have ran the ball to victory. Like they could have ran for 400 yards.
Right.
But Coach Simmons insisted on passing the football, even in the rain, even when they didn't have to, Coach Cole.
I think that Coach Simmons, the great coach he is, knew that he had the game from day one. We talked about this way in week 4 or 5 that they would win the SWAC conference.
Yes.
We also talked last week. You asked me, well, how can Prairie View? If Prairie View was not putting a lot of people in the box, then Prairie View wasn't being smart on or not trying to win this football game. And I told you when Mosa feels pressure, he's not at his best. So I didn't get a chance to see the game, but I can imagine and looking at the stats and reading the stats and communicating with you that Prairie View put a lot of people in the box. And sometimes when you put a little, you know, and I think as an offensive coordinator, your job is to put your football team or your offense in the position to make plays, to have a hat on a hat. And sometimes when you fill that box up and you don't have a hat on a hat, you know, they almost force you to throw the football. So I know the genius that Coach Simmons is, that at times that's what he did.
Well, Coach, he was getting one-on-one on the outside, Coach, you know, and that was an effort to stop the run. But he was able to run the ball effectively even with those guys in the box. You know, he used those, you know, he used that, what you call it, 12 personnel when you have one running back, 2 tight ends. He used that 12 personnel to run the football. He was running it quite effectively. And there were times where he dropped back to pass and Musa couldn't hit his target when the target was wide open. But in my opinion, heck, they could have just turned around and handed the ball off and won the football game going away. But he had those passing plays in the playbook, and he wanted to run them, Coach.
Well, hey, you know, you got to take a shot at it. You know what I'm saying? You know, throwing the fade route or the go route is like shooting a 3-pointer sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'd rather go instead of grinding it out, let's get the quick touchdown. You know, and then, you know, sometimes you got to spread the ball out. But you know, talking to coach and everything, man, they pretty much knew that going into that game, that really Prairie View didn't have a chance to win it.
Well, Coach, Coach, Mr. Campbell and I and Dr. D, we spent about an hour or so in the field house on a Friday evening before the players went to the hotel, and it was the coaches at that time at the field house. They were quite confident. They were insisted that the boys were ready to play. They were focused and ready to go. And it was almost as if they weren't braggadocious at all. They weren't overconfident or anything, but they were assured. To me, it seemed like they were assured and certain that they were going to win the game. And everybody was real relaxed and loose. And you know how sometimes coaches before a big game, in my opinion, can be uptight and a little short and, kind of uneasy. The coaches were very inviting and engaging and nice and kind and communicative. They were just really relaxed, seemed like the day before the game. Unusually relaxed, in my opinion, considering the SWAC championship was the next day.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Coach. When I went to the 2010 championship game and we had Alabama State, I felt that way as well. One thing I knew that Alabama State wasn't going to score on our defense. Our defense finished #1 in the country, and I knew that. And we went in the game without my starting quarterback. So there were some things about me of playing in that game that we weren't going to get beat. The offense wasn't going to get us beat. We was going to, run the ball, run the clock down, and get a game to our defense. And that's what we did. We ended up winning 11-6. But at no time in that game, I felt like they could beat us. It was just destiny. They could beat us. When I've always looked at stats and I could tell you how a game, Florida A&M had 23 first downs. You know what I'm saying? To Prairie View's 13. That means Prairie View's defense was on the field a long time. And then when you look at possession, they had the ball 36 minutes to Prairie View's 23. They had 448 total yards, man. That's a lot. You want to be right at about 375.
In the rain, Coach. In the rain.
And they threw the ball 24 times, Coach. They threw it 24. Connected 14. But the one who struggled was Prairie View. You can't throw three interceptions, man, and then give me the short field. But this game was just lopsided, Coach. It's lopsided, and I'll be the last one to talk about the conference, but it's a lopsided conference. And it's been that way for a couple years, and you gotta ask yourself why.
Coach, let me ask you this: coming into the season, you and I talked quite a bit. And we both agreed that FAMU was definitely the class of the SWAC, right? It kind of played out the way we thought it would be. We thought it would be. But I'd like to ask you, Coach, were there any surprises this year in the SWAC as far as you was concerned related to how teams perform, where they placed in their respective divisions? Were there any surprises in your opinion?
I'm gonna tell you this: Alabama State is better than Florida A&M when it come to all around. Alabama State's defense was just as good. They just couldn't score. You know what I mean? They averaged 19 points a game, and their defense averaged like giving up like 15 or something right in there. You know what I mean? And they finished 7-4, Coach. Eddie Robinson, the first year coach that ain't coached them, he finished 7-4. That's a hell of a season for a guy who's never coached before. They just need to get the offense going. with what they do on defense. I mean, you talking about the secondary average about 6'2.5", 6'3" in the secondary, coach. You know, and they getting you that ball back, and they were good special teams. So they made a big jump. Besides that, coach, I mean, I got to hand it off to T.C. Taylor as well. You know, coming in behind Deion, all the fair. Then Deion took, you know, most of your great players, you know, and he went on to have a great year, you know. But besides that, you know, Valley was still Valley, Pine Bluff was still Valley. I mean, Pine Bluff, Texas Southern, you know, was a big disappointment as well. You know, I thought Grambling, disappointment. Southern limped. Prairie View, nobody, you know what I'm saying? Alcorn, you know, I mean, wow, coach.
Well, three teams, in my opinion, coming in that I thought would probably win the West, coach. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. And not either of those teams won. I thought
Now,
either Grambling.
Before you answer that, Rocky, you asked me what was basically the good things about the league. I gave you those three. FAMU, you know, Alabama State.
Well, give me the disappointments now, coach. Go ahead.
Texas Southern, disappointing. You know, bad. 5-year coach, been in over there 5. The only other coach that's been there longer was Fred McNair, and he's beaten Fred McNair last 3 years. Lost to Pine Bluff at the end of the year. Stumbled against Prairie View, had Prairie View by 17 going into the fourth quarter, coach. 17 points. You know, and when you look at the rushing, he averaged over 10 yards of carry. Why would I, if I'm up 17 going into the second half? I ain't never throwing it's handoff all day. I thought Coach Hugh Jackson would do better. You know, Grambling, you know, trying to get it going in the right direction. I seen him against Prairie View. I seen him before that. I seen him the first of the year. I think he lost to Hampton. I thought he was going to get it going in the right direction. You know, I think that Coach Jackson wasn't ready to coach in HBCU. You know, Rocky, you know, everybody always talk about going out and getting these great guys and coming to the HBCU when you should be coming to the HBCUs and getting these guys who have done so much with so little. What you think they can do with something, coach? You see what I'm saying? So it should be opposite almost. Alabama A&M, you know, coach fell off at the end. Coach Maynard fell off at the end. I thought he could have done better. Southern, I mean, wow, they are not the Southern that people expected them to be. You know, Southern, Prairie View, you know, they got to get better, coach. They got to get better. It's like everybody was beating everybody. You know, and nobody was just standing out among the group.
You know, I really thought Alcorn would have a better showing. I thought Grambling would have a better showing. And I honestly thought Southern would have a better showing. Those three teams combined, you know, in my opinion, was a disappointment. Even Coach McNair coming down the stretch, losing against TSU on the road by 30 points, coach.
In his championship game. Championship game, coach. Eastern Championship on the line.
Yeah, coach. That was a disappointment for me because I was expecting Alcorn for Coach McNair, who I think is one of the better coaches in the SWAC, to face off Willie Simmons at Bragg, and I expect that to be an epic game. But it wasn't meant to be when they went to TSU and got waxed. You know, and then for TSU the following week to go to UAPB and get beat, you know, in the, you know, get ran down again like they did it, you know, basically finish the season the same way they started the season, Coach, by giving up a late lead. It was just disappointing.
Yeah.
With everything happening in the SWAC and the momentum that's around the FAMU program, you know, what do the other schools have to do to dethrone FAMU?
Coach, you know, you got to get better. You know what I mean? You got to go back and evaluate your program and what you're doing. You got to recruit better, you know, because they beating you with better players as well. Teams that really stuck with them is, like I said, with Alabama State. They got some kids over there, Coach. You know, again, I can't say enough about Coach Robinson and his staff. All right, Alcorn is always in the middle of the road. You know, of getting it where it's going, but Southern's got to do a better job. This selection, this coaching selection today, they need to get it right, because Southern University depends on the Bayou Classic. They depend on winning seasons, because everybody in that city go buy a season ticket, and when you ain't winning, ain't nobody buying season tickets, Coach. And Southern University depends on that.
Here's a comment by someone, Coach. Every week, I see comments about Coach Cole should be coaching. When is some AD going to make it happen, Coach? That's from C7.
Yeah, you know, that's a that's the $1 million question, Coach. You know, that's the $1 million question. And you know, I'm here, and I ain't going nowhere, and you know where to find me. You know, so.
Coach, it's interesting that the fan base, the HBCU fan base, certainly recognize you as a competent coach. I just honestly, Coach, I just think it's a matter of time before an AD, a head coach, or somebody reaches out to you and talks to you about an opportunity. You know, I know you're eager to get back in the game, Coach, and I know that there are opportunities out there that they're going to show themselves, and you're going to be on the sidelines sooner rather than later.
But this is one reason why I started this show, Rocky, for stuff like that don't happen to me. You know, if I can't get on the field and show it, then maybe I can help another HBCU coach or a black coach, you know, to get the opportunity and the flowers that they need. We don't have no other channel, right? Tell me, I ain't seen no. Have you seen any of them on ESPN?
No.
You know, I see Jay Skywalker. I see the young lady that he with, and then every time you have a black college game, you don't see no black college former coaches nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You don't see no black college player that played, you know, on the next level or whatever, you know, analyzing the game. You know, we don't get no love. You know, and we one of the best conferences in this country, Coach. And we but we don't take care of business, Coach. We don't do business. Again, hit your deal, Coach. We gotta get serious about football, man. You know, Coach, I had a coach call me and a job opened up. He was a defensive coordinator. And they go to another university. And when he went back to get his stuff, the president called him and said, hey, Coach, you know, you ain't staying here. You going with the other guy to the other school? He said, well, Coach, I'm the defensive coordinator, assistant head coach. You haven't offered me a job. So the president goes in his pocket, Coach, pulls his phone out and shows him Texas that some of the people on the board is saying, don't hire this guy. Don't hire this guy. And this guy's the defensive coordinator, Coach.
Already at the school.
Already at school, Coach. They went from 0-10 to 7-3, and he's been there 2 years. Do you think he had something to do with the
success of the team? Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Why would board members get involved with who's hiring the head coach? I don't know. Now,
well, you know, we
got to do business.
The HBCU community, what I'm learning, Coach, is a very small, close-knit group of people. And everybody, just like you, Coach, I thought it was rare that you're a guy that knows everybody, Coach. You know everybody. You have relationships with everybody in coaching, administration, and stuff like that. I spent some time with Mr. Campbell earlier today, this weekend, and he's a guy that he knows a lot of people. So my point is saying is it's not nearly, the community is not nearly as big as I thought it was. Everybody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, Coach. And at some point, people have to put their personal feelings aside and allow the people responsible for hiring quality coaches to do their job, whether it be ADs, head coaches, so on and so forth, so that the quality coaches can, you know, get the jobs that they deserve and the schools need. Willie Simmons said this in that clip. He said, if we could hire those coaches who are currently unemployed, this could be one hell of a league. Yeah. He said that. That's the man who just won the SWAC championship. Understanding that there are currently 3 jobs open. He said it, you know, full chest. And he went on to say later on, and I suggest everybody go back and watch the whole Willie Simmons interview. He went on to say later, he said, there are some guys out there that are on the shelf that if they were coaching the SWAC, I would be worried. That's what he said.
Yeah. You know, in the product, Coach, the product is better. You got to put a good product on the field. I'm not saying just at one school. I'm saying at all the schools. You know, and you know, Mississippi Valley, you know, and I'm not down on the head coach over there. You know, I mean, why would you go out and hire a receiver coach from a PWI to come work at Mississippi Valley, coach? You know what I mean? Why would you go at Pine Bluff and you know, I've just named some championship coaches, you know, that you've been a perennial loser for years. For years. You know what I mean? And what I think sometimes our administration guys don't coach for money per se. You know, it's the nostalgia, you know, it's the camaraderie ship that a guy would take $90,000. And look at Dion. Look at all the PWI's coaches he got. He had got a guy that was the head coach at Kent State, left Kent State to come work with him in Colorado. He took a pay cut. And that's what I think our administrators don't understand. Guys' hearts are in this job, coach. You know what I'm saying? Guys are spending more time in the office and getting things done than they spending it at home. So for you to take a personal vendetta against a person, well, I don't like his swag, or no, or you know, he looks like he, you know, talk with girls or what. Wow, coach, that's tough. Man.
Coach, you hurt somebody's feelings, coach, because it said, hold on now, coach. Texas Southern is not a perennial winner. Use them as examples, not just UAPB. But I'll tell you this.
I stand corrected. We are a perennial losing program, and you are correct. You know, I just don't know nothing about it. When I had to him, no, you're correct.
So it says Fred McNair is heading to TSU again. And I'll say this: if a man already has a job and he's looking for another job, it don't take all day to hire that guy. You understand what I'm saying? If that guy's going to take the job, he's going to take it right away, or he's not really trying to leave, to be honest with you.
Well, our resources are saying that Alcorn has upped the ante and has made his contract right, but he hasn't signed anything yet, And I guess he'll go through the interview and he'll continue to use Texas Southern to get more money, and he's doing it the right way, I mean, that's what this thing is all about. So I guess he'll hold on till he interview, and then he'll go from there.
And this another one says, if PWIs can rehire the likes of Petrino and Patino, what's stopping HBCU ADs from hiring the Cole brothers? That's a great point. That is a great point. That's a great point. Hey guys, we do have the call line open. I saw a few people calling in and we didn't get to them. I promise you, if you call in from here on out, we will get to you. We were trying to cover something, but I wanted to cover one more thing, Coach. Well, let me just recognize, got a couple things. I want to recognize these players that were recognized as the SWAC award winners. We had Jeremy Musa as the Offensive Player of the Year. We had Isaiah Major of FAMU, Defensive Player of the Year. We had Jace Wilson of your alma mater, TSU, Newcomer of the Year. We had Javon Robinson, Grambling State, Freshman of the Year. And we had the SWAC Championship coach, Willie Simmons, Coach of the Year. Do you take issue with any of those selections?
Wow, Coach. Florida A&M had the offense and defensive player of the year, Coach. I don't know when the last time that ever happened. Shit,
I think it happened a couple the last 3 years.
Oh, with Jackson State.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I ain't in it that much. I know I used to be on that other end, but yeah, Coach, if that's the way they voted, the coaches voted, that's the way they feel, and you can't say enough about Musa and the things he done, and definitely the defense, But I thought Alabama State's middle linebacker was pretty damn good.
That's what I was gonna say, Coach. The one I looked at was the Defensive Player of the Year. I thought Alabama State had a great player, and choosing Jace Wilson as the Newcomer of the Year, Coach. I just think there were, several. Well, the player I was thinking about wasn't new to the SWAC. He was an intra-SWAC transfer, so maybe he was the best player that had, coming from another conference.
Well, Jace Wilson was coming from Fordham up in New York, school. So he was a transfer as well.
So and also the quarterback from Alcorn, Allen. I'm not sure if he was a transfer or was he there before either, but it was a surprise to me that TSU had an honoree, Jace Wilson.
Yeah. Well, I gotta give him 2 hoorays. Hooray!
All right, Coach.
Wait, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Coach.
I was saying that now that Andrew Body has entered the portal, he got the spot all by himself. So whatever new coach coming in, he'll be taking those marching orders from the next person.
Hey, Coach, and this is interesting. I don't know if you know this guy, Charleston White. I want to bring this up. Charleston White. Yeah. If you're familiar with he's a YouTuber, an internet sensation, and he did a sit-down interview with the NFL icon, Cam Newton. He had a sit-down interview with him, and I just want to play a brief little clip of what he had to say about HBCUs in that interview. I want to give you guys a warning. There is profanity in this particular clip. I mean, this particular audio. If you have young children listening or whatever, or if you don't want to hear profanity, I suggest you close your ears or whatever. But we're going to play this clip because I think it's important. To hear. I want to get your thoughts, Coach.
Nigga, I know the East Side Falcons used to play, so I know about Deion.
Hey, that ain't respect worthy for you to say, you know, even though
no, that ain't respect worthy. Because what I saw was, and I ain't really saying fuck Deion, I'm telling black people to say fuck Deion. Because what happened, we took our love and our support to Colorado, and we forgot about all these HBCUs that's winning or losing. We ain't said high five them. We don't know one black coach at HBCU.
Okay, now stop. Because, like I said, behind everything that you say has some truth. But to that, I would suggest you say in that statement, I ain't going to say per se, fuck Deion. But look, let's leave that part out.
I'm saying it.
But what we receive would be like, yo, even though Deion Sanders had to make a professional decision to go chase a bag that Jackson State didn't necessarily have, let's not forget about the other HBCU coaches that's out there.
Let me just say, Deion knew they didn't have a bag when he took that on. It was already an agreement that we know we go struggle. He even agreed to give portions of that to that facility. He already knew this. The white folks just came and do what they always do. Come get the nigga and take the attention that he was going to bring to the spotlight on the HBCU. Now this big old light that could have been on these HBCU is now on this one white school that's 92% white.
So let me ask you this.
And I'll stop it right there, Coach. What do you think about Charleston White's comments?
Well, I think he needs to do a little more digging. You know, Deion is not the savior for a black college, you know, HBCUs. HBCUs been here, they're going to be here. You know what I mean? My thing with Charleston White is, won't you figure the marketing strategy? You know celebrities, you know, you're sitting there with Cam Newton, and won't these celebrities get together and do some type of major, you know, across the world fundraiser to raise, you know, $1 billion, $1 million, and give them back to Buck College? Won't we do that every year instead of killing the one guy that came through? Deion's just a football coach. You know what I'm saying? He came through as a football coach. He's coaching his son. He did a great job, just like any other white coach would do. Coached at a 1AA school. He won. He sold it. It's time for him to go. Deion couldn't accomplish no more at Jackson State. You know what I mean? What we got to do at HBCU is take care of the business part of it, Rocky. We got to do business right. You know what I mean? We got to take ownership of what we ain't done right. Do you know back in the 60s and 70s, HBCU used to win all the doggone time, massive crowds. We didn't take advantage of those days and build up in our athletic program. Athletics, coach, have been one of the spearhead for African Americans to get out of poverty in the depth of time. But then we start getting these guys that didn't play athletics and taking over these presidency jobs and not putting the money where it should be. You know what I'm saying? PWIs have made sacrifices to turn it around. The average black person, average black family in America make between $45,000 and $50,000 a year. Because they don't have money to give back to black colleges, man. They barely making ends meet. But then we got these celebrities. We all want to jump on football players or LeBron James or Michael Strahan. It's some other black folks out there that makes money as well. And I think that our celebrities, if they're really concerned about HBCU.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. We made it. It's Friday, December 8th, 2023. Number 1, former Speaker of the U.S. House, Kevin McCarthy, recently announced he will leave Congress at the end of this month, not the end of his term. The 9-term congressman wrote an op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal stating, "I'm leaving the House, but not the fight." Unfortunately for McCarthy, the deal he made was with conservative Republicans to reach the House leadership after 15 rounds of voting. And that was that only one vote was needed to file a motion against him if they didn't like something he did, such as the the protracted discussion to avoid a government shutdown and a partnership of sorts with Democrats. Number 2, the College Board has unveiled a revised framework for its advanced placement African American Studies course. The updated curriculum, set to be implemented next academic year, reflects a commitment to presenting a comprehensive view of African American history and culture. The course initially gained national attention earlier this year when Florida Governor and presidential candidate Ron DeSantis announced his intention to ban the course, alleging a political agenda. Number 3, making healthy food and drink choices is important to all of us, but it is even more important if you have chronic kidney disease or CKD. For CKD patients, eating a healthy diet consists of foods that are low in salt, low in fat, and low cholesterol with plenty of fruits and vegetables. It helps you control your blood pressure, and if you have diabetes, it can also help you control your blood sugar with healthy food and drink choices. Number 4, on November 26, Bernardo Pantaleon's body was found on a trail near Mountain View Park in Phoenix, Arizona. 3 suspects were arrested in the killing of Pantaleon, and the family alleges he was targeted because of his sexual orientation. One of the suspects admitted to police he killed Pantaleon after an unwanted advance made him uncomfortable. Number 5, Monica Williams, entrepreneur and owner of From Mama's Kitchen Specialty Desserts, is baking up joy and inspiring others to pursue their dreams this holiday season. Williams officially started her baking business in May of 2011, taking on corporate clients, vending in different spaces in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and distributing wholesale. This holiday season, inside each of Mama's Holiday Treats box is an assortment of 16 traditional gourmet and seasonal cookies, 2 brownies, and a chocolate-covered pretzel, peppermint bark, and her famous old school pound cake. Oh my gosh. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Life is a series of choices. Let's choose to live our lives in a manner of honor and respect. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Black Health Matters. Barbara Scotia College and HBCU in Concord, North Carolina needs our help. The What You Need to Know team is asking supporters, alumni, and friends of Barbara Scotia to help them meet their immediate and pressing needs by donating to help Barbara Scotia rise. Please join the thousands of donors from around the world who are stepping up to save one of the nation's oldest HBCUs. Please visit SybylWilkes.com for more information. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.